Hey, how's it going, Bears fans? Welcome to the Monday night edition of the CHGO Bears After Dark, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app and use promo code CHGO when you sign up. How's it going, everyone? Will DeWitt, Greg Braggs Jr. here for another episode of Bears After Dark. Cody's going to join us in about 15 minutes to get those Monday Night Football bets in, and Nicholas Moreano is going to join us in about 30 minutes for the remainder of the episode because Greg, he's preparing right now for Two Truths and a Lie, and hopefully you did your homework earlier.
I'm zenning out. There's really no preparing for the complexity of Two Truths and a Lie.
That's right. It's Greg's favorite game without question. But how are you? I know yesterday was busy between the tailgate, the Bears game. By the way, I know it was cold on Sunday morning, but I still believe like our tailgates are like the place to be before every single Bears game when we host those. That was another great time.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Bears fans aren't afraid of bear weather. I know Mark Carmen would approve of that statement. He wants to stay at Soldier Field, and we're used to the conditions, and it really wasn't that bad. The temperature forecast and what it actually was, held true. But then when you got out there, it was nice. The sun was out, the wind wasn't too bad. And we had a great turnout once again, our third one. We have another huge tailgate coming up for Bears Packers the next time the Bears return to Soldier Field for the big game against our hated rivals. And it's a lot of fun. So I encourage everyone to come on over for the Bears Packers CHGO Bears tailgate. And let's get it in. We got DJ and all you can eat, all you can drink. You can park there. It's a short walk to the stadium. It's kind of a perfect setup we got going on there.
I had to get a one of the Green Ridge Farms, like the cheddar jalapeno sausage to walk back to Soldier Field. Oh boy. Like that was like the perfect companion to have on my walk, like a little bit of the heat to keep me warm as I was walking back to the stadium. That was nice. I haven't tried that one before, and I'm really glad I did. So you get some really good food too. But you mentioned Carmen, and I wanted to bring up the point, like the irony was not lost on me that he was the guy, and I was only there for like an hour, but had to go in for like multiple coffees to stay warm. The guy that wants to keep the Bears outside in the elements. He was like, "Hey, you want to go get a coffee?" I'm like, "No, I'm okay." Like, all right, I'll be right back.
Yeah, like, and he was layered up, like he was prepared for the Antarctic weather or something, So, I mean, Mark wants it to stay at Soldier Field, but I don't know how many times he's attended a bear weather game. I got to give Mark a little crap. He's been giving me crap all day long about my takes on how to react to this Bears loss from yesterday.
I saw his song. I'm going to put song in like loose quotes. I didn't really hear much singing going on.
You saw it, yeah. Cease and desist. He's taking my Rise and Shine videos now. Next, he's going to be saying brick by brick every day. I mean, come on.
You better start working on that trademark like ASAP, Greg.
As they say, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, so I'll take it.
Fair point. So I just want to know, like, as we kind of start off tonight's episode, we have to begin with like my vibe check. Like, what's the mindset now more than 24 hours removed from the loss? How you feeling? What's the vibe like?
Yeah, I mean, in the moment, you can be disappointed because it's, they blew a 2-score lead. They're up 24-10. But the further I get away from this game, and it pretty much started to resonate with me right away, during our post-game show, even because I was very upset about the refs. I felt like the refs cost the Bears this football game. The Bears did a lot on their own to lose that football game after the refs did their thing, and we'll get to some of that here later in the show. But the further I get past it, the more I'm just fine with what has occurred. I mean, do I want them to win? Yeah. Do I want them to win next week? Yes. But if they're going to lose some games and only up the value of what they can get in the draft, I know some people hate that kind of sentiment, those kind of feelings, but it is what it is. They lost the game. So you're one of two people. If you're the type of person that's like, oh, they're creating a losing culture, I don't agree with that. Just because they lost doesn't mean they're creating a losing culture. Justin Fields sat at his locker for 45 minutes, not speaking to anyone before he took questions at the presser that you were at, Will. To me, that's not a losing culture. That's a guy that cares very much about winning. and he's going through some tough losses this year. Washington, the Giants, the Vikings, the Dolphins, and now this one. And to me, that's only going to build up his resolve. And when this team is ready to win these close games, when they build talent around him and put talent on the defense, that's only going to make his will to win even stronger. So I'm fine with the outcome. There are things they got to get better at. There's obviously a lot of holes to improve on if you're Ryan Poles, but at the end of the day, we're continuing to see an offense putting up 30 points a week. So it's unprecedented. It's uncharted territories when it comes to, what we've seen as Chicago Bears fans in our lifetime, Will.
Yeah, it's definitely different. When you said will to win, I almost thought you said will DeWitt, and I had to think twice about what you said. I'm like, I'm getting stronger. I'm trying to here, Greg, as well. But no, you're right. Justin really took that one hard, and you mentioned how long he was at his locker, and even when Coach Falus ended up going to the podium, so I leave the locker room at that time to go to that press conference, and I saw Justin still sitting there. I was like, that's a little different. Usually he's getting dressed by then, and we're moving a little bit forward. And as we know, I was a little late to the post game getting on because of that, but I'm okay with it. He needed his time to himself to kind of reflect on this game. And honestly, I appreciate a quarterback that cares that damn much about these wins to go out there and find a way to do it. And honestly, too, you just knew by his comments about that interception, immediately to kind of start that presser. I guarantee, I assure you, that will never happen again. That was one that he wishes he had back, and one that he's just kicking himself in the ass for. And we've had so many quarterbacks, whether it be Jay Cutler or don't care, and they're one finding blame. I can feel it in my bones that Justin deeply cares about making mistakes in terms of not doing that and finding ways to correct those mistakes moving forward. And I think that's super refreshing here to have too.
Yeah. I mean, that's to me why it was even sitting at his locker for 45 minutes. I think he took a lot of personal responsibility. He's not going to blame the refs. I am. I'm a fan. I'll say whatever the hell I want. Justin, as a competitor, he's not going to use that as a mental cop-out because he wants to be great. So he's going to say, no, I made the mistake. I'm the reason we lost this game. I'm going to put it all on my shoulders. He's not going to blame the defense. He didn't go in the post game and blame the refs or blame the defense. He came up there, like you said, and said, I made the mistake and I'll never do that again. I appreciate the sentiment. I think he will do it again at some point, so, it's just a matter, if you're going to throw he's going to have a long career. He's going to make mistakes. I appreciate, his, feelings but I just think, it's a promise he doesn't need to make. I don't expect him to not make mistakes. He's going to make mistakes, that's fine. Definitely you want to dirt that, as he said, throw it out of bounds. But, he's had a few moments where he got away with it. The Patriots game, I think they ran the exact same play. He almost threw a pick and they just didn't catch it, So, there's going to be times where he has those things. He's not perfect. He's still young. He's still growing into the quarterback we all hope him to be. But my God, what he's doing right now is unbelievably amazing. I mean, it's just, like I said, unprecedented. So yeah, definitely. I like the accountability, Bologna, Fonseca, but at the same time, I don't expect perfection out of him. He's putting up 30 points a game. That's more than enough. The rest of the team also has to hold up their end of the bargain. But I like that he holds himself accountable. No question about it.
Me too. And he's such a young man too. And for him to have that sense of accountability at such a young age, I think it's a testament to his maturity as a human being, a football player too. And you mentioned this is just unprecedented. And I was thinking about it in my drive home last night, just how special, what we're watching is, him breaking records seemingly every single week, what he's been able to accomplish. And I don't know, Greg, is this one of those, in your opinion, that in time we're going to appreciate it even more than we are in the moment? Because I don't even know if I fully understand what we're witnessing. I feel like it's a little bit of a shock, where it's I see it and we're talking about it, but I don't know if I fully even processed the greatness that Justin's been able to display over the last couple of weeks. To me, it's awesome. It's like I said, though, is this real life?
Yeah, I'm certainly the Sea Blue Brags is out in full force the last couple of weeks. I mean, I feel like I'm appreciating it for what it is. I think some fans because we're losing so closely, can't accept it fully because they want the win too, because you're greedy Bears fans. But at the same time, I get it. To me, and I tweeted it out when the Bears put out the stat that he's the first player since Walter Payton to have back-to-back games over 145 yards rushing. Like I was driving home and I had to say it out loud. I didn't want to just read it. I said it out loud to myself, and then I just started laughing. I'm like, are you kidding me? And for the people that are like, oh, well, somebody tweeted at me, well, that'd be great if he was a running back. No, that makes it even more impressive because he also passes the ball. I think he has like 7 touchdowns and 1 pick in his last 3 games. They're passing the football. He's done things in every game that's historical. 2 touchdown passes and 2 rushing touchdowns and over 150 yards, first time in NFL history. Last week against the Dolphins, first quarterback ever to throw for 3 passing touchdowns and have over 150 yards rushing. So the dual threat, not just the threat of running the ball, is what is making this special. So, I just think it's so funny for Bears fans. And I think there was this one guy, Conrad, who's a fun follow of mine. He put something like, the Bear, Justin, he needs to get stats. Now he's getting stats. And they're like, well, that's not enough. He needs to do more. No, I mean, he's doing everything he possibly can. 30 points a game is more than we could ever ask for as Bears fans. And it only illuminates the fact that if you put more talent around him, which they're going to, on the offensive line and give him another receiver, that this team is going to be a real threat to this league. They're going to be really hard to stop because the teams they've done it on aren't all just bottom feeders. They've done it against good defenses too. So now we go to the Falcons next week, see what they can do on the road. Justin's hometown of Georgia. I expect him to have another big showing on the turf, not the Georgia Dome anymore, the Mercedes-Benz Dome or whatever they call it down there. But no, it's unprecedented. I'm appreciating it. We've never had a quarterback like this. We've had Jay Cutler and Mitch Trubisky, who we thought we could win with, could even be franchise quarterbacks, but we've never had a guy that we thought could be a superstar at quarterback on our team in the NFL. We've seen it with Devin Hester. We've seen it with other players in other sports. That's who he is, but it's at the quarterback position, and he plays for our team.
Yes, he does. And you mentioned the stat with Walter Payton. And like when I see those stats arise and pop up, and you mentioned Devin Hester, it's already just telling me that where were you when Justin Fields did this is going to be like one of those stories down the road. Like for me, like I never got to watch Walter Payton play. I get to see the highlights, but damn, like I wish I was able to do that. And there's going to be a generation of Chicago Bears fans that we're going to be talking to in the future. Like, oh man, if you saw Justin play, like I know we'll be old men by then, but still like you should have been there when Justin was doing this, like how special it was to be as a Bears fan in this moment. So that's why I wanted to bring up, like, are we appreciating it? Because if we're not, we need to change that mindset and do so, because he is putting together special performances week in, week out. And for a season that started the way it did, for it to turn on a dime is a testament to himself, the coaching staff to figure things out. But really, Justin has put this team on his back. And I just can't wait to see how much and how far he can carry it in the future once he gets, a little bit of help his way too, because he can't do it all. There are 21 other players that need to do their jobs too. And wins will come when that happens. That was a pretty good vibe check, Greg. I like it. That was fun.
Yeah. I mean, to the point though, first 3 games, this is from Bleacher Nation Bears. Not to keep this segment going, I apologize, but this kind of illuminates the whole point. First 3 games, 51% completion percentage, 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Next 4 games, 58% completion percentage, 751 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 86.8 quarterback rating. The first 3 were 50 quarterback rating. Now, the last 3 games, 65% completion percentage, 441 passing yards, 7 touchdowns, 1 pick, and a 108.9 passer rating. Talk about the switch turning We're seeing it in front of our eyes. Where were you when just the light went on for Justin Fields?
St. Omni's called me a novice Bears fan because the team's cursed and something's going to happen. Don't even think that way. And he also mentioned Craig Krenzel, which I think should be an automatic timeout in the chat. Like you can take your Craig Krenzel, Chad Huntington,
Who's
Jonathan
saying
Quinn.
this? Was this Coffee?
You put the word in, I'll put him on a timeout.
Who was it? Coffee and Bears?
Yeah, St. Omni with that one. I think Craig Krenzel should be an automatic timeout in the chat, man, because that's just like nasty. Like no one wants to remember Craig Krenzel playing quarterback. That's man, I was like 7 years old, and that still stings to think about. But we have a lot to get here today, Greg. I know we're going to bring on Cody here in just like literally 2 seconds. And once we get through his segment, talking about some Monday Night Football bets, Nick's going to come on, get some updates from Hallas Hall. We're going to play 2 Truths and a Lie. And then the premise of tonight's episode, which is let's rank where the blame should fall for yesterday's loss. A good topic that Greg and I discussed earlier today, and I'm excited to see really where all our minds are in terms of like who should be blamed for yesterday's loss. Well, let's go ahead and bring on Cody because I know this Monday Night Football game is about to get underway, and I'm ready to learn how to make some money tonight. What's up, Cody? So fired up, he's muted. Yeah.
Oh, he's muted. Put it $5 in the jar. No, we cannot. No.
Is the mic on?
All right, Cody, I'm going to take you off until you get your mic issues figured out there.
Language?
Testing. Anyway.
Oh, now you get to hear me just bloviate more about Justin Fields' greatness. No. Yeah, no. Before Cody gets going. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Monday night game. Watch more of the league, sit back, relax, instead of stressing out about our Bears. They're going to be tough to pick here the next few weeks because I feel like every one of these games, certainly the Falcons game coming up, I feel like it's going to look just like this game. Another shootout, another, close game, and that's the thing, I don't know how much you've watched this morning this afternoon with Hogue and Carm and Corey Wooten. I just, with this whole idea that you can't accept the tank win or whatever, it's just like, to me, it's how do you want them to lose? We all knew there was a rebuild season. To me, they're 3-7. They're not going to lose perfect every week. The Dolphins game was like the perfect loss for everyone to like feel comfortable with. But when you are going to lose a lot of games in a season in a rebuild year, some of the losses are going to be excruciating. And that's they've been in every game this season, which is a testament to this coaching staff and these players. And it shows if they just get the upgrades they don't need upgrades like across the board. Certainly we want to fill all the holes that they have, but that may not be possible in one offseason. But just how close they are with this roster, if they can get some more pieces and some more talent in some certain spots, then that's when I'm going to start expecting wins and saying, well, at some point, because Hogue made the statement, at some point they have to start winning these games. I'm just not at that point to harshly criticize them, when there's a lot of variables from the lack of talent around them, the refs in this game, especially last week too, the NFL calling in and apologizing for their crappy calls. Like, there's a lot of variables that are going against them, and they are a talent deficient roster. So I'm just not at that place when you talk about a team putting up 30 points a game to say, well, they have to learn to close this out. Their offense is doing more than enough, and the defense isn't good enough to do anything. So what am I supposed to say to that?
Right. And it's not Justin's fault that the defense is allowing more than 30 points per game. There's a lot on him, though, for the offense finding ways to score 30 points or more per game. I think they've done that 3 of their last 4 games, and the other one was 29 points. Like, I've never seen a consistent offensive output like we have so far. And really, all of that is due to Justin Fields just being such a special player than he's been. Cole Kmet stepping up, too, is another great development all the way around. Huge. And it's one of those that came out of nowhere.
Hole they potentially have to worry about in the draft or free agency now.
Right.
You can keep Cole Kmet. That's great.
I almost gave away some stuff. So later, I got to hold on to some of those stats in my back pocket there, Mr. Greg.
Yeah,
I know. But no, Cole Kmet too, like coming out of nowhere, because he was a concern earlier this season. Like, oh, here we go. Another year where Cole Kmet, he's making a few catches here and there. And we've had a couple after darks when we're wondering, like, where the hell's Cole Kmet? Why can't we unlock him? And they found a way to get it done. I think that is another just great development all the way around. And at this year for me, like I said over a month ago, like wins and losses are out the window. Yeah, losing to the Lions, I think, hurts more than most, but still, like I think some of these positive developments, Cole Kmet coming to, Justin Fields is the obvious one, Khalil Herbert still being a very impactful running back, and him and splitting with David Montgomery, I think, has been more than fine. On the defensive side of the ball, I think Justin Jones has surprised a lot of people. I know he surprised me, up there for tackles for a loss. The fact that he's tied for a team high for pass deflections, and he is playing defensive line, it's just incredible when he makes some clutch plays. And the backfield, and Jack Sanborn last 2 weeks, like he's got an opportunity and he shined. He's getting praise from the coaching staff. Like you get those victories here and there at these different positional groups with some of these young players, build around them, and good things can definitely follow.
That's where I push back, and I don't want to beat up my guys, Adam Hogue and Mark Carman, but like Adam's saying today, and he's kind of shooting at me on Twitter, like, we have to worry about the development of all these, the rest of the team, not just Fields. Well, you just named a bunch of players that are still developing in losses. Jack Sanborn is the perfect example. That's Adam's guy. He developed. He had a great game in a loss. Maybe somebody we can go forward with as a depth piece, if not a guy that, can exceed, who he is as a undrafted free agent or, So it's, to me, there are still positives to take from a game like this, even though they blew it. Yeah, I'm not excusing Justin Fields. Anybody watching this that thinks I'm just, trying to put sunshine all over everything, he threw a pick six. We all saw it. It was terrible. But when you consider that what he's doing, how harshly can I criticize a mistake when he's literally doing everything else right? Like I just said, the last 3 games, he has 7 touchdowns and 1 interception. And I'm going to wring my hands on his first mistake he's made in 3 weeks. And the rest of the team around him and the refs and everybody else are making mistakes on a play-to-play basis. Like, get out of here. He's allowed to make a mistake. It didn't come at a great time. I understand that. And any fan in the stands can say, oh, you can't throw that. But how many fans said on the first touchdown run he had in the end of the first half where he ran that guy over, the safety over in the end zone, how many people, when he got caught in the backfield for a second, said, oh, you can't take that sack, Justin? Like, literally, it came out of my mouth as he was running out of the pocket.
Yep.
So, we can say what he can or can't do, but at the same time, he's such a special player. You have to allow some leeway with what he's trying to do. And if he's going to make a mistake here and there, you got to live with it.
You do. I think we get a take 2 now.
Let's do it, Cody.
Please tell me you can hear me.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Here we go. What I said earlier when I came in was like, you guys had me all hyped up because I don't know, anytime I've genuinely enjoyed just talking about Justin Fields, like not the Bears, just Justin Fields, just him, just him alone. And he was great yesterday. And I don't know. I know he had the one mistake, but it's kind of funny how the discourse of him is like completely changed. Like a month and a half to 2 months ago, I was seeing the term bustin' Fields on Twitter, and now it's like, oh, he can't throw. And it's just like, I'm someone who doesn't forget, and I have a lot of bookmark tweets, guys. I have so many, and some from Bears fans too. It's like, can't you guys just enjoy something? Just enjoy something. Like, in my 31 years on this planet, I've never seen a quarterback for the Chicago Bears play like Justin Fields. I don't care that they've lost games. They clearly have like issues on the roster, but it takes a full team to win games. Like I don't know how much more we have to say that or explain it. Anyway, I know I'm here.
Keep driving it home, Cody. Keep driving it home because you're right. It's definitely different. And can Bears fans enjoy some things? How long have you been on Bears Twitter dancing around it, man? It's no matter what, there's always doom and gloom somewhere. But hopefully
To your point, Cody, I mean, it takes a team to win games. Josh Allen, if you go back to his last five games, I think Jonathan Hand tweeted this, a guy on Bears Twitter. I think he has like 10 touchdowns. Josh Allen has 10 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, and they're 3-2 in those games. Justin Fields' numbers over the last 5 games are much better, and they're 1-3, or whatever. It's like, come on, you got to keep it in perspective.
If they had a little bit better defense, I understand why they traded the guys, but if the defense was a little bit better and you had some more options, a wide receiver, I think they're still trying to get Claypool, comfortable or involved, whatever. I was surprised to see that he didn't have a lot of targets this week. But I'm not, I will overreact to that in like mid to late December if he still ain't doing anything. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I got to give it some time. Anyway, I know I'm here to talk about Monday Night Football, so I'm not on the Bears podcast, so like I come on here to do this. Yeah. So tonight I tweeted earlier. I quote tweeted you, Will, with it when you tagged me in your tweet before going live for the show. I'm gonna take the Commanders plus 10.5. Some people have been able to get it at 11.5 or 11. Congrats to those people, because I wish I would have seen that. I did not see it at that. So, but I'm taking the Commanders plus 10.5, and I'm going to take the under. I think every time I come on here, I say that I'm taking the under. Primetime unders are now 17, 10, and 1. And then I read a stat yesterday that just in the NFL in general this year, underdog spreads of a touchdown, so 7 or more, are 14-7, and that was going into some game that I was reading about yesterday. I can't remember which game it was. I want to say it was a Sunday night game. But yeah, because the Niners were like 7.5 or 8-point dogs or favorites, and then the Chargers lost by 3, so they covered. So now it's 15-7 against the spread. This is a divisional game. I think that the Commanders have a lot to play for here. They've played well of late, and while the Eagles are undefeated and they've covered the spread in every game except for their last, I just feel like 10.5, 11.5. I just feel like that's too much outside of just the trends, right? Like, I think that the Commanders, they know that the Eagles are getting talked about a lot. And I know they're going on the road and everything, but like, there's a lot of people out there that I've read. A lot of people aren't believers of the Eagles yet. Like, I understand they're playing way better than they did last year. But, again, divisional game, I like the Commanders' defense. And I think the only question is can the Commanders have enough offense to hang around? And I know they're awful on primetime. We saw it against the Bears. But I do think their team is completely different compared to when they played the Bears. I mean, Taylor Heineke's been much better than Carson Wentz. So, yeah, that's kind of my thought process on it. And the only reason I really like the under is because I think the possessions will be long. I could see like maybe 2 or 3, possessions switched in a quarter. You know what I mean? And whenever if all it takes is a punt, maybe 2 punts, or if a team scores, but it takes like 5 or 6 minutes off the clock, that changes the entire complexion of what a total can go. So I think that is possible. And I think the Commanders are going to want to do everything they can to keep Jalen Hurts off the field.
Sure.
So that's why I'm taking the under more so than the trend. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what you guys are thoughts on that. I have 2 parlays that I kind of sprinkled on if you want to hear those.
Yeah, bring them on. You know me, okay. I'm a parlay guy.
Okay, so as much as I'm sitting here talking up the Commanders, I still think the Eagles are going to win tonight. And they're at home. So like Eagles, this parlay, it's not super juicy, but you can get a boost on. There's like 2 boosts on DraftKings one for the entire weekend, and then there was one for Monday Night Football tonight. This one, it's just a 3-leg, so I got it at 15%. It's just the stepped up same game parlay. So this is a 3-legger, Eagles money line, Jalen Hurts to score a touchdown, which is at plus 100. And then I have Jalen Hurts over 49.5 rushing yards. So that comes out to plus 285, but you can boost it to plus 327. So it's not like a ton of juice, but like I just don't know exactly what we're going to get out of this game, but I do think that Jalen Hurts will have a good game. And we talking about Justin Fields a lot. Every time I see Justin Fields doing what he does. I see so much of what I've seen from Jalen Hurts in his, few NFL seasons. And anytime they get down in that goal line area, I think he's definitely a threat to just run it in. So, and at plus 100, like there's not super ton value if you take it single.
Sure.
And then obviously the Eagles are huge favorites to win tonight. So that's why there's not a ton of value on this. But I think that with how much they run with him and the fact that he has a good chance to score and the Eagles are probably going to win tonight, I think that that's not a bad parlay. Just like, if you want to put more money on it, cool. I'm just sprinkling like $5 on it. $5 wins you like 20, which is fine.
Yeah.
So the other one is a little bit more juice. It's at plus 660 after you use the boost. I got AJ Brown over 79.5 receiving and Curtis Samuel over 44.5 receiving. And then I took Jalen Hurts over 39.5 on this one on the rushing yards. So it's at plus 550 boosted to plus 660.
Yeah, that's a good
legger
call for sure.
Yeah. So maybe, what's the difference? Why did I do 49 on the other one and 39 on the other? I don't know. I just messing around and I was like, well, these other two, the Samuel and the AJ Brown ones, I think are a little bit more questionable than the Jalen Hurts rushing yards. So I guess I just wanted to make sure I had a lock in there. So,
you got to. You have to.
Yeah. So, and at plus 660 is not a bad play, I think. And I think AJ Brown, he's been great for the Eagles all season. He's coming off some good games. Curtis Samuel's been really great with Heineke, I think. And it gives you a good reason to root for both teams. So, yeah, that's what I like on that one, on those two parlays. So, yeah, but, I think the Commanders cover, and I think that it'll, like, the total is 43.5. I think you could get like I think it could be like a 21-13 game or something like that. Like the only way I could see the Commanders winning is if they somehow, some way force some turnovers or something like that, get a defensive touchdown, then that might ruin the total if you take the under. But I don't know. And also, like, the Eagles just didn't play that well against the Texans in that last game. Of course, they're coming off a bye, so or a mini bye, something like that. So they've had some time. But again, divisional game. I'm going to take the underdog every time if you give me this many points. So
there we go. No, I like those. Absolutely. I appreciate you hopping on. And obviously, I'm glad the microphone issue got figured out too.
Yeah. I know I just rambled on and on there, but it's not a big deal to me. I hope I'm helping anyone win some money tonight. So yeah.
Good luck to everyone listening to Cody. Not that they need it. You do a great job there, Cody. I was just saying, good luck for all intents and purposes.
Thanks.
I was like, as soon as I said it, I was like, did that come out a little rude? I didn't mean it to be, but I think you know what I meant there. But yeah, no, I appreciate you coming on and figuring out the tech issues and also having a little space to talk and appreciate Justin, which I think every Bears fan should be able to do. So good stuff there, Cody. Thank you.
Yeah, guys, have a good night, and let's get a win at some point. I know we're tanking, but we need a win.
They're gonna win next week.
All right, I'll take that against the Falcons. I'll take it.
I got you.
Yeah, it's Ryan Pace's Falcons. Come on.
Oh, revenge game in a way for someone. There's someone on the Bears.
Somebody's getting revenge.
There's a revenge game for someone on that roster. Okay.
Justin Fields, born and raised in Georgia.
That's true. There's a lot of good stuff coming up in this week for storylines. I love it, Greg. I love it. All right.
All right.
Later, Cody.
See you guys.
All right, so that was Cody Delmondo helping us out with some MNF bets. So let's bring on Nick on the screen because I got to do some ad reads, and I'm gonna hand off one to him here in a second. What's going on, Nick?
What's going on, you guys? I'm hopefully my microphone's not having any issues. I know we had some last time, so hopefully.
No, that's only for Illinois grads.
You got it. Okay, cool. So it sounds all right. Sounds all right. We're good.
You're good, man.
I'm one to talk. I didn't graduate college.
How are the headphones? Are they good? You hear me clear?
Can hear you clear. Can hear everybody clear. Hopefully, I'm not overpowering with my microphone here. So I think we're good.
Sweet. So you can hear me say Shady Rays, and you want to hear this awesome message that I need to share with all of our listeners about really a product and a company that I'm just so happy that we get to partner with here at CHGO, and that's Shady Rays, because they never understood why sunglasses were so expensive, and they set out to change it. You don't have to break the bank for quality sunglasses this fall, because our friends at Shady Rays have you covered. They are premium polarized shades. They feature world-class optical clarity, substantial durability, and styles cater to everyone and every lifestyle. And I've been using Shady Rays for years, and the one thing I really appreciate about them is that they have the most insane protection program in all of eyewear, which is lost and broken replacements. If you lose or break your shades on day 1, day 10, day 100, day 1000, it doesn't matter how it happened. You just let them know, and they'll replace them, no questions asked. And another great thing about Shady Rays is that they do a lot of good for the world. They provide 10 meals to fight hunger in America with every single order placed, and they have donated over 20 million meals to date. So do some favors for your eyes, do some good in the world, and heck, like I said, that lost and replacement program is really just top-notch customer service all the way around. So for our listeners, Shady Rays are running their deepest deal of the season. Use code CHGO for 50% off 2 or more pairs at shadyrays.com. Buy one, get one free. You can get 2 pairs for as low as $54. Redeem only at shadyrays.com, where you can find all of their newest and best shades.
Love it, Will. And I have to tell everyone about Next Evo. There are a lot of different CBD products out there, and it can be a little overwhelming to know which one is right for you. Next Evo Naturals are developed with Smart Sorb technology, which is clinically proven to help your body absorb CBD 4 times better than regular CBD oil. I've noticed Next Evo Revive helping me when I'm dealing with muscle soreness after a workout, and that's why it's important to take the Next Evo Revive daily. Next Evo Naturals also are scientifically formulated to deliver more CBD in a way your body can actually use it, clinically proven to have 4 times better absorption. So don't settle for less. Get your supply of Next Evo Naturals Revive CBD Complex today, or shop their gummies, capsules, and mints, proven to absorb, again, 4 times faster than CBD oil. Get up to 25% off when you subscribe and spend $40 or more on at nextevo.com/recover with promo code BEARS. That's nextevo.com/recover with promo code BEARS.
Great stuff there, Nick. This is the CHGO Bears podcast after dark version. Will DeWitt, Greg Braggs, Nicholas Moreano just joined us. And Greg, don't feel left out. You got some cornhole to tell us about later on in this episode.
Yeah, I'm ready this time. I was gonna point out too, I like how Don Burr went into hiding.
Yeah, I know,
while
right?
The Lions were on a losing streak. Fields was starting to emerge. Then all of a sudden, the Lions get lucky and beat the Bears. They were as lucky as I've ever seen. They didn't do anything but get a lot of luck. And now he's all up in our chats. You better be hitting that like button, Don. Stirring the pot in the chat. But it's nice that you came back, coming out of hiding.
Yeah, I was getting a little concerned. I was looking for him at our tailgate.
Yeah,
I still think he was there, but didn't want to say anything and like out himself and who he is as a human being. There's a lot of Lions
fans at our tailgate.
There were.
I had the Nerf, football. I was beaning Lions fans and then turning around and acting like I didn't throw it at them.
Did you get one in the head and knock some sense into him and he became a Bears fan?
One Lions fan figured it out and he threw it back while I had my back turned. Like,
there you go. All right, Nick, you're on to give us some updates from Hallas Hall before you start playing some 2 truths and a lie. What should we know from today's press conferences and just your time at Hallas Hall today?
Yeah, so we had our press conferences today at Hallas Hall and started with Matt Eberflus, and just some of the takeaways that I thought people should know about. He was asked about Jalen Johnson and that 40-plus long explosive play that happened, what Jalen needs to do better on that play. And, it was pretty simple. He just needs to stay connected to the receiver, keep his feet moving. But he was also asked about Jalen Johnson dealing with that oblique injury, if it affected him and, if he should have been out there. And Matt Eberflus said it was no excuse. Like, he was out there playing. It's on the players who, are asked if they are good to go. And if they say yes, it's on them to then, play to the best of their capability. But, there were no excuses, no, gimmies for Jalen Johnson and dealing what he's dealing with. Like, he still needs to execute, but that's what Matty Eberflus had to say about Jalen Johnson and that huge play late in the game. He was also asked about Chase Claypool only getting 19 snaps, taking a dip down from last week's performance, and he said a lot of the times Claypool was a primary and they were covering that. And Eberflus actually talked to Luke Getsy this morning about Claypool and his usage there. So I'm thinking, you guys, and again, not hearing this from anybody, but I think we see a lot more Chase, come against next week against the Falcons in Atlanta, because it just seems like when you trade a second round draft pick and you don't see the usage go up the next week, it's just a little weird to me. But I would expect to see more Chase Claypool moving forward.
So there was no validity to. I heard some people saying that he might have got hurt in the first half.
Eberflus didn't say. I did see that too, Greg, but Eberflus didn't say anything about it. Maybe that's something once we have open locker room on Wednesday. I'll make sure to kind of go over to Chase to see, what kind of happened with him and his usage on Sunday against the Lions. But I did see that kind of circulating around, but Eberflus didn't mention anything about that. But honestly, guys, like in Eberflus's it was a 15-minute discussion. 6 minutes of it were just his introduction, where he just recaps the entire game. And they were like, all right, thanks, Matt, for taking us through that journey again. Like, here's the first half, the second half, what happened. So
Bill Belichick trick,
Yeah. I noticed that yesterday too, Nick. Like, he pretty much brought up like the box score and was like reading off the box score. And I was like, oh, because usually I don't think
does that every time.
Yeah, he cuts out a few questions, right? And he don't have to answer.
6 minutes and 30 seconds. Yep, wow. I had to transcribe the last part of it. Like, finally ended 6 minutes 30 seconds to the press conferences. But he knows what he's doing, avoiding some of the questions. But those are those were my top takeaways from what Eberflus said. We'll get to Cole Kmet, who also spoke today right after. He said on the play where he and Jeff Okudah collided, Kmet said there would have been a big play if there was no collision there, because the Lions defense was discombobulated. They completely forgot to cover him because someone was supposed to pass him off, or he was saying, well, someone should have picked me up, but nobody was there. And essentially, the Lions ran a pick on Cole Kmet, who was supposed to be the receiving end of this big play. And if you watch, the All-22 isn't out yet, but there is open grass for Cole Kmet. And obviously Fields kind of hesitates how he throws it, and kind of throws it in the air. It's like, what's going on here? But Kmet said there would have been a big play if there was no collision there. And just looking at just the broadcast copy, it definitely looks like there was. Should have been a flag. He was also asked what he liked most about the 50-yard touchdown. And this was something that I noticed in my film watch this morning. And this is a direct quote from Cole Kmet. He said a few plays prior, we ran a 13-person out of 3 tight ends. The play right before that 50-yard touchdown, they were in 13 personnel, picked up 9 yards to Khalil Herbert moving right, went to 13 personnel on that 50-yard touchdown. The Lions are not thinking it's going to be a pass play. They're thinking, heavy run package. They're going to run this down our throats again. Cole Kmet leaks out, but he said, we'd been running that throughout the year. I think it just set up nice. We obviously saw throughout the game that they were overplaying a little bit. We run a lot of those movements with Justin, and Justin really likes those types of pass plays, get him out of the pocket. I was just able to kind of nod the safety over a little bit. Nice route by Cole Kmet too, and then come flat across his face, and it turned out to be a big play. But seeing Cole Kmet involved, but that's a good job by Luke Getsy with the personnel grouping, really throwing the Detroit Lions off. He also said on that 50-yard touchdown reception that he lost the ball in the sun. And when you look at the replay, that sun is beaming down at Cole Kmet. But he credits actually, his baseball background for being able to just locate it right at the last second there, and obviously get into the end zone for a touchdown. But that was the big takeaway from Cole Kmet with his brief time with the media. And then we were supposed to get Jalen Johnson today. We did not. So It was interesting because he actually spoke, or he was on, 670 later, a little bit later in the evening. and he spoke to he spoke on the radio program, but we were supposed to get him today after yesterday's game, but we got Jack Sanborn instead. And he said on his interception that was taken away due to Jalen Johnson's, not a penalty that shouldn't have been a penalty. He said that the linebackers were really preparing for the angle routes in the red zone. I remember, Will, like I told everybody on the previous show, like the angle routes, especially from Swift. So knew it was coming. He was in perfect position and was able to make a play. So that's just Jack Sanborn being prepared and obviously taking everything that the other linebackers are teaching him and putting himself in a position to make a play like that. And Matty Eberflus doubled down again today about how special of a play that was from Jack Sanborn. Just, again, having the right instinct. He said he was born with instincts, but making the right play. And then I just want to share a cool quote from Jack Sanborn. He was asked about going from a UDFA to leading the team in tackles versus Lions. Do you ever think about that? And this is his direct quote. Yeah, I think it's important, and it's something I learned throughout college, is everyone is very fortunate to be where they are. And it's something you've got to do from time to time because everyone is so focused on getting better, winning the game, and everything that comes because it is so challenging. I think taking that 3 seconds, 5 seconds to really kind of breathe, soak in the moment is something that's important and something that you can take when you look back and be like, man, I remember that moment. So I'm glad that Jack Sanborn, like, it wasn't guaranteed that he was going to get this position here, especially when Roquan Smith was on the team, but things just kind of fell into place, right? He got traded away. He got his opportunity, showed to the coaching staff that you can trust him in this defense, and goes out and leads the team in tackles and has 2 sacks, should have had an interception, but I like that answer from Jack Sanborn. It was real, genuine about his opportunity and what he's getting here with the Chicago Bears.
Well, that's what it's about, making the most of your opportunities. That's something Velus Jones is learning on the opposite end the hard way.
Absolutely.
When you get your opportunities, it doesn't matter where you're picked, where you're drafted, undrafted. When your opportunity is called, you got to take advantage in this league.
And I just want to, I guess, give credit to the coaching staff and the front office for allowing it to happen, because previous years they're just so gun shy of playing young players on this team and just kind of holding them on the bench and not allowing them to get experience like this or chances like this. And this is why you do it. Sometimes you find yourself a Jack Sanborn, and we saw what happened in preseason, and just to see it translate now against quality starters in the league on Sundays, I think that's a really encouraging sign for him as he moves forward.
And I think he, at this point, just needs to add the D to his last name, because there's so many people I saw Clark Kent put it Sandborn. And they were talking about it. Mark Carmen was talking about that in the afternoon show. At this point, he just needs to add the D. Everyone's going to call him Sandborn, whether he likes it or not. It's just a Chicago thing. Once we, pronounce your name a certain way, that's it. You don't get to decide. We decide.
Oh, no. Someone noticed my jersey. Yeah, I got it for my birthday from my brother, and I wanted to wear it on the show. But, yeah, it's a thing. And you didn't see anything, is all I'm going to say. But, right? Do. It's my lucky number, so maybe it'll help us break this jersey curse. That
Just buy everybody's jersey, and then you can't curse them. That's my philosophy. Because I've went through this too. Well, I didn't go that far. Will I'm just
okay. Do you see Drew in the comments here? He just quoted you, right? He needs to add the D.
Yeah, I know, and I won't throw our producer Steve under the bus for what he said.
Don't even bring that up. That was so bad. That was so bad.
We're all having funny little slip ups.
I can't wait to hear this after we get off of here.
Yeah, of course, mine is on the record and can be clipped, but yes, Sandborn.
Oh yeah.
Shrek Bobby was like, "Is that a Kevin White jersey?" It's not a Kevin White, unfortunately.
But
we can say it's Kevin White.
In their Mitch Trubisky jerseys, like at the tailgate with a jacket on. It's a Claypool jersey now. If
That's
you just
right.
Wear a jacket,
Yep.
you're good.
You never know.
There we go. I saw Kevin White was doing comedy in Indianapolis on Friday. I sent a picture to Nick too. It was like a comedy club, and it was like Kevin D. White. I don't think it's the same Kevin White, but I was just hoping that whoever it was had better comedy skills that Kevin did, professional football skills. Sorry, Kevin. All right, let's play 2 truths and a lie. I got 3 rounds for you. And Greg, I try to keep some of what I'm mentioning a little less number heavy for you, just to kind of allow you to not get
third
so
grade
sideways.
level. You can say it. It's okay.
Okay, there we go. All right, round 1. How do you know? No, round 1. Cole Kmet now ranks 2nd at the tight end position in the NFL in touchdown catches this year with 5. Nicholas Morrow and Kyler Gordon are now tied for the most missed tackles on the team with 10. And Justin Fields had a top 5 yards per attempt so far this week. We still have the Monday night, so I'm going to say so far this week in the league. Which one of those is the lie?
I'm going to go with the Fields stat because you're trying to pull at my heartstrings. I'm all in on everything Fields is doing, but I'm not falling for your tricks on the yards per attempt. I know what you're up to here.
I think the lie is a Gordon Morrow statement with the missed tackles.
Okay, so Cole Kmet was true. You guys both got that one. He is now 2nd in the NFL among tight ends with those 5 touchdown catches, only behind Travis Kelce in his 8. And the fact that this all came over like 3 games isn't that nuts?
Yeah, he's been on a roll, and Luke Getsy, what they're doing, keep that going. This is exactly what Bears fans wanted to see out of Cole Kmet, and I'm pretty sure they're appreciating every moment of it.
I know I'm soaking it in. Morrow and Gordon do have 10 missed tackles each, which is, we talked about Sanborn. Man, if Morrow, I know he had a few key tackles for a loss, but I still wouldn't mind throwing Weatherford out there for a drive or 2 in a game just to see what you have in him too. Because when you go back and you watch the Indianapolis preseason games, Weatherford was their Jack Sanborn, and we have both of these guys on this roster. Who knows? And I just want to see if he can get some playing time here as we go down the stretch. But yes, Justin Fields is not in the top 5 in yards per attempt, even though he didn't throw, that many passes. And even though he had a 50-yard completion, he has only had 8.4, still a decent number, but that's 9th so far this week in the league.
Okay.
All right. Round 2, get ready. Hold on to your heart, Greg, because I'm going to start pulling some strings. Justin Fields is 2nd in the NFL in first down games while rushing. Justin Fields leads the NFL in fumbles. And Braxton Jones' pass block grade was the highest on the team this week at a 77.8. Which one's the lie?
Braxton Jones. What's the lie?
I'm going with the first one. Justin Fields.
2nd in the NFL
in first downs
gained.
Yeah, because he should be first.
He should be first, but he's not. He is 2nd.
God.
He has 48. He has 48 first down games with his feet, which is 2nd, not at the quarterback, in the entire NFL.
That's where I didn't hear the minute detail. I thought quarterback. I'm like, there is no way any other quarterback has done this. But in the entire NFL.
No, in the entire league at any position. But no, he has 48. The leader's Josh Jacobs with 50. Justin Fields, a quarterback, has almost the most rushing first downs in the entire league.
And you know what this is like is when Charles Tillman had as many forced turnovers as like linebackers. That the stat where he, forced fumbles, and you look at the list and they're all middle linebackers, and then Charles Tillman is 3rd. That's almost similar to what's happening with Justin Fields right now.
Yeah, it's a good defensive parallel without a question there, Greg. I'm proud of you, though. Both of you know that, Justin has fumbled a decent amount this year. Luckily, he hasn't lost a lot of those. But
12 fumbles and only 1 lost, right?
That's right.
See, I am a numbers guy. Look at me, Mr. Numbers guy.
I'm rubbing off on you. We'll just keep it going here, all right? There you go, Steven. All right, and then Braxton Jones's pass block grade was the lie. He was 2nd on the team with a 77.8. Who was number 1?
Schofield.
Schofield? Really? Yes.
It was Schofield. Yeah. Yes. No, watching the film on him, I thought, it would be a lot worse just because it's not Tevin Jenkins, but there were a lot of good blocks from Michael Schofield, able to go to second level and, just hold his own. And I was really impressed with what he was able to do in place of Tevin Jenkins, who obviously, once he comes back and is healthy, he's going to be good to go and is an upgrade. But really impressed with Schofield this past Sunday.
Yeah, I think him and Reef, like games like yesterday when they both have to start, I'm just so thankful that they made those moves in training camp to bring in these veterans, because there was a time in which we didn't have that kind of luxury. So I don't take it for granted one bit. All right, last round. The Bears have 2 top 5 rushers in the NFL in terms of yards per attempt in Justin Fields and Khalil Herbert. Jack Sanborn is already 3rd on the team in total sacks for the entire season. And Eddie Jackson is only 12 tackles away from his career high, and we still have 7 games to go. Which one's the lie?
The first one's a lie.
I agree.
All right. Eddie Jackson is only 12 tackles away from his career high, which is nutty. And I've mentioned this in my midseason report article. It's just a testament of how bad the front seven's been playing in front of him. Like, he should not be this close to a career high in tackles as a safety. He should not be at this stage of the season. No question about it. And Sanborn, he is 3rd on the team in total sacks with the 2. Roquan had 2.5. He's still there. Yeah, he's still there at 2.5. Brisker leads the team with 3 still, which, again, it puts in perspective the defensive line woes that the Bears are having. And you're right, the Bears don't have 2 top 5 rushers in the NFL in terms of yards per attempt, because Justin Fields is top 5. As we know, he's way up there. But Khalil Herbert, he's all the way down to 6th. Right there. Right in the cusp. But he still averaged 6 yards a pop. Good job, impressive. Guys. I have to make it more difficult.
I got one right. It's not a good
Is it more
job.
fun for you when you get it right or when they're challenging? And if you're listening, fun. I want to know what you like more too, because I did make it more 3rd grade level for Braggs, but if we can go to like some advanced calculus, man, I can really dive in.
It still only got 1 of 3. God. I'm stupid.
All right, real quick, we got to get some ads out of the break, and then we got to rank the blame here. I know we're running a little long. We can thank Cody and his microphone issues for that one, and us having a kind of lollygag there for a bit. But real quickly, Greg, I'm going to hand it over to you. Tell us more about Chi-Town Cornhole.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, are you looking for a good gift for Christmas for your great friend or family member that loves to tailgate at CHGO Bears tailgates or hang out at their house, pre-gaming, throwing bags? Well, I got the company for you, and that's Chi-Town Custom Cornhole, the #1 cornhole provider for Chicagoland and Illinois since 2007. Their signature box-style design can be digitally printed, covered in vinyl, and painted. Their cornhole boards come with built-in drink holders, recessed in on the back, LEDs that light up the hole, and exterior handles for easy carrying, and handcrafted scorekeepers. They're veteran-owned and operated. Veterans Day was just the other day. They can ship anywhere and offer local pickups, specializing in corporate designs for your company's next marketing or social event, wedding gifts, and gifts for all occasions, and especially for tailgaters and backyard barbecues. So go check out their website, ChiTownCornhole.com, and make sure to follow them on Instagram to check out some of their different designs at Chi-Town Custom Cornhole Boards. Boom.
Boom. Mic drop. But don't drop your mic. We need it. We need to continue to hear
you. I did the ad-libbing before the read. I'm learning from you guys and Mark and Adam. You guys set it up. So one day it'll feel seamless.
It felt seamless. Just
one day.
Well, you got this. All right. I got one more to go. Imagine this scenario, and I'm just going to pull one out of a hat here. You're playing a divisional rival. It's the 4th quarter. You score a touchdown, and you have a chance to go up by a full 7 points. Your kicker lines up for an extra point attempt, and you watch as he kicks the ball, and it slowly sails why. No, okay, here we go. Make every play that I was going to say exciting.
Now it sounds like I'm reading this.
Right? I tried to like change this one a little bit. I was trying to play off the Santos miss because we're going to get to it in a minute. But damn it, Greg, you got me off. All right, make every play feel that exciting. Quotes around exciting with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and their unbeatable offers. Right now, new customers can make any $5 NFL bet and get $200 in free bets if your team wins. Check this out. In addition to the usual bets, everyone can boost their winnings with DraftKings stepped up same game parlays. Cody was really pumping those up here earlier in the show. He gave you all the great bets that hopefully you can still make here right now. And to make things even sweeter, you can throw down on stepped up same game parlays once per day, game day, all season long. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use the promo code CHGO to get $200 in free bets if your team wins. Just place a $5 bet on any football game. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook using code CHGO. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. All right, gentlemen, we have one thing to do before we sign off, and we need to just rank who the hell's to blame for this loss. And when Greg and I were talking this afternoon, we narrowed it down to just 5 buckets. You have Cairo Santos, you have the referees, the officiating, you have Justin Fields, you have the Bears defense, and overall coaching. So I don't know, should we go one by one or should we each just share a list? I really was debating what's the best way to go about it. And I'm up for really your guys' input here.
I say we each say our list. And then if there's any differences, we can touch on those.
You want to go first, big guy?
I guess I'll go first. Because for me, I struggled with defense or refs. And I had tweeted this out yesterday, and I thought the defense at first. But then when I went back and watched it and re-racked my brain on the chaos that ensued in this game, the defense only gave up 24 points. You know, one of the touchdowns was a pick 6. And to me, there is everything you want to talk about, the mistakes the Bears made, and we'll talk about it in this segment. The call on Jalen Johnson for illegal hands to the face. The Bears are up 24-10, and Jack Sanborn intercepts the football. The game at that point is basically over. And I understand the defense still could have messed up. The Bears could have went 3 and out, and the Lions still could have tied it a different way. But that flipped the entire momentum and complexion of that game. So I'm putting the refs first. Okay. Then I'm putting the defense second. Then I'm putting Cairo third. Because Cairo has one job, and that's to hit. I don't even care about kicking it out of bounds on the kickoff. The chip shot extra point is inexcusable. And he knows that. I don't love his comments in the presser, hey, it's no big, take some personal accountability. He's a great kicker. He's clutch. Mm-hmm. I trust him to make the clutch kick. I trust him to in the Eagles divisional round playoffs that nobody ever wants to think about ever again. He makes that kick because I think he's got a little more confidence in himself. But to just miss, and he's missed a few extra points. I know some of them were in the rain earlier in the year, but he's missed some extra points. Now he misses this one. The game goes to overtime if Cairo just makes a simple chip shot, extra point. So he's third. Then to me, between coaching and Fields' interception, which is the last 2 we have, correct? I have to be fair and put Fields' interception. It was part of that huge momentum shift, and he added to that problem, which he did take accountability for in the post-game presser. And then finally, I will put coaching last. But I will say, of all the things that went on during that game, the end of the game, Fields needs to be better. The offense needs to be better. But Luke Getsy, I felt, did get conservative. And I don't mind trying to run the ball to win the game. What I did have an issue with, and Nick put out a tweet of the 3rd down play where they run a half-field read to try to spring Darnell Mooney open, and they've ran that play a few times with some success. But the 2 times they've tried to run it in pivotal moments, one in the Washington game to win the game, the final play of the game, and then this one, the issue I have is they have to get the first down. They have to get the touchdown against Washington. And when you make a half-field read, it just limits Justin Fields' options. if something goes wrong, like Nick Moreano pointed out in his fucking tweet, excuse my language, it just irritates me how these guys run into each other, and it just illustrates how these guys, like, just don't take the ball out of Justin Fields' hand. Give him the whole field, because not only can he find a receiver, but then he can also run for it like he has a million times. If you do a half field read, then you're tying a hand behind his back, and you have to be perfect on the play, which they were not in the execution. So I don't like the play call. And then the timeouts on the final drive, to not call a timeout on third down, but then call a timeout on fourth down made no sense to me. Either don't call the timeouts at all, save your timeouts, then you have a chance to get the ball back with a little bit of time left for some Hail Mary play, or call your timeout before third down. Don't let Justin run up to the line of scrimmage and check it down. So that fired me up. Excuse my language. I'm fired up today. Today's been a hell of a day. I just want the Bears to be great again. We're going to get there, but I have been heated.
See, it's confusing me because you put that last, but yet it got you the most fired up.
Right. Because like I said, I've got to be fair. The interception was bigger than the two things I mentioned. To me, I don't get as fired up with Fields' mistakes because of everything else he's doing right. So that's where the difference is. I can't get that mad at Justin for making the mistake. I can't deny how big the mistake was, but I don't get mad at him for it. The third down play call does piss me off, though, 100%.
Totally. Nick, I'm going to go ahead and I'll do mine, and then I'll let you, so that way you can figure out where you want to, where you want to fit in all this. So I also, and Nick, this is very odd and ordinary for me. I did put the rest first. And I've always been someone, like, I don't blame officiating, or at least I don't try to, but like, when you just go back and you look at the game flow, man, like they really kind of mess things over for the Bears. The extra 15 yards on the roughness on Gordon. And then he had a few plays later that illegal hands to the face. If without those penalties, it would have kept it a 2-score lead early in the fourth. And instead, the Lions score on the very next play, after that Sanborn should have been interception. Like, what a swing of momentum that is right there. In the first half, you have that touchy DPI on Lamar Jackson in the end zone, where it was like, a little bit of contact, but it wasn't enough to warrant DPI. I don't know, but that gave the Lions first and goal at the 1 in the second quarter, where they scored a touchdown. All the no calls for the Bears, like holding, hands to the face in the line of scrimmage. The Bears still can't buy a defensive pass interference call against them. Like, when they're on offense, the refs don't see that contact apparently whatsoever. There's just so many things, yet again, that the officiating did to kind of just give the other team the momentum, give them extra chances to score, and not help the Bears in their end sustain some of these drives. So I'm going to say that was a big one for the Bears that they couldn't control. But without those mistakes by the guys in white and black, I think the Bears do end up winning this game. After them, I'm going to put Santos, just because you have to hit those extra points. Those are the gimmies. I saw the comment earlier about the kickoff that went out of bounds. The Lions didn't score off of that possession, testament to the Bears defense. So that was kind of like a no harm, no foul. Obviously, the field position game didn't help that Bears offense right there too, but still, like, that missed extra point came after Justin Fields had that house call. If you hit that and you go up by a full 7, like, you have all of the momentum, but missing that extra point gives the Lions a little crack of confidence, a little sliver of hope in which maybe they shouldn't have had it. So I do think that was a very big missed opportunity and kind of took away the impact that was that big, knockout punch that Fields had with that long touchdown run. So that's why he's second. Then I'm going to go with coaching. Because we talked about the soft play calling after the Bears won up 30-24, right? 2 runs with Herbert. They weren't working. Ended up having to punt. No timeouts when the Lions were inside the red zone too. Like, I know Greg, you're upset about the timeouts and how they're utilizing offense, but I thought the Bears were letting too much time run off the clock when they're on defense too, with the chance to go out there and get it. I know Justin can score like in a blip in a second, but give him some time to work with. You don't have to wait and have him try to operate with under 2 minutes left. And when you look at the defense, and I mean, they're to blame too, and that's why they're on this list. But the play calling on defense, like, that pisses me off, like you, Greg, because like, they weren't calling blitzes as much as they should have. Because when they were blitzing, getting after Jared Goff, like, that Lions offense couldn't move. but yet they played a little bit soft coverage, and that allowed them to pick apart because Goff had clean pockets to work with all day to throw. And if they were a little bit more aggressive, the coaching staff was on those defensive play calling, I think the Bears could have ended up winning this game too. Then I go to the field with the pick six. Again, without it, the Bears were up 2 scores in the fourth quarter. You never know after that fact. And then I'll lastly put the defense. They give up 3 scoring drives of 68 or more yards, 2 90-plus yard touchdown drives surrendered. And then the one and the kicker is the 91-yard touchdown drive. It only took the Lions 8 plays, 3 minutes, but in it were penalties that which we talked about earlier with the officiating. So that's how like my thought process goes in terms of, this extended blame game that we're doing here. But that's where I'm at. A little bit different than Greg's. Nick, where are you?
Okay, guys. I'm different from you guys with the blame game here, and I'm going with the defense number 1, you guys.
Wow. Okay.
After rewatching what Alan Williams schemed up in terms of the game plan for this, he did send guys on blitzes. But let's go to the one play where Kyler Gordon gets flagged. Before that happens, he's unblocked off the edge at Jared Goff, doesn't execute, doesn't finish the play. That should be a sack by Gordon on Goff. Completely misses it. Then he has to turn around and ends up getting flagged for getting that extra effort. He shouldn't have been in that position in the first place. He should have sacked Jared Goff right then and there. There are a couple plays where Travis Gibson is coming, beats his man one-on-one, can't finish it, bring down Jared Goff, the most elusive quarterback in this game apparently, because these defenders couldn't bring him down. The first touchdown of the game is a wide open just drag route from the tight end because Jaquan Brisker forgets who he's covering. They don't pass off the right guy. They're in position to make the plays, but the players themselves don't execute. You're giving Detroit free yardage, free points. And so when I kept rewatching, I'm like, man, I know it was a couple of press conferences ago where I think it was Alan Williams. It's like, it's on the coaching, but it's also on the players. There was a lot of times where the players didn't finish, you guys, and that's frustrating to see. I know there's a lot of young guys on this defense, and it doesn't help when obviously you're getting flagged for, ghost illegal hands to the face penalties like Jalen Johnson did. But there were a lot of plays in this Bears game where the defenders themselves, the players themselves, did not finish, and that bothered me after I rewatched, all of it now. But so I'm putting it on the defense for a lot of these players not finishing and executing plays. On the one after that bogus penalty by Jalen Johnson, the counter play to DeAndre Swift, nobody's there. Like maybe that's a little bit on the coaching, but nobody contains the edge. It's like they never seen a counter play before. Walks right into the end zone for a touchdown. Yep. There was an Amon-Ra St. Brown jet sweep. Nobody's there to stay home on that play. It's again like some of these players that seem like they'd never seen some of these play calls before. So the execution on their part was really disappointing. And actually, guys, when I saw your list of the 5 things that we had here, I almost put above that execution because I could find execution on all 3 levels where really it was bad. But I'm going defense, and then I'm going to double down on what I said on yesterday's post game where I was asked what was my the biggest blame, and I put Cairo Santos. Like the extra point, that's his 3rd missed extra point. He had 2 in the San Francisco game, and obviously the weather didn't help. And ever since then, he's been great, except for this point. And it just reminded me, was it after the Justin Fields rushing touchdown from the 49ers game where they missed the extra point after that?
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
And it happens after a huge run, a huge momentum shifter. Cairo Santos misses his extra point. He also had, like you said, Will, the kick out of bounds didn't lead to anything but field position swap. He almost had an other kick. It went out right at the end zone line, but it could have been, another out, penalty on him. But it was just weird. And look, that's not the Cairo Santos that you're typically going to see. He's going to hit that kick, right? He's going to get that extra point. But it led obviously to the Bears not having being in a tied game to ultimately losing by 1 point. Then I go to the refs. There were a lot of bad calls in that game. Like the Jalen Johnson one is inexcusable. It really is. Like seeing how he literally just jammed the receiver like any DB coach would like him to do, and you get penalized for that, and it takes away the great play by Jack Sanborn. You can't have that happen. when Braxton Jones brings out his inner Tevin Jenkins on the first drive of the game and pile drives a guy to the ground and gets flagged for holding, that's wrong. So you can't have those kind of plays get flagged because the Bears players are doing something right. So the refs obviously impact this game. So I have them at third here on my list. Coaching fourth, because again, I look at a lot of what Alan Williams called. I look at what Luke Getsy did, scheming up the 13 personnel, the 50-yard touchdown, obviously getting Justin Fields on the edge there a couple times and putting them in position to score points. Like I liked what they did there. Again, you talked about the at the end of the game, not using that timeout initially after the second down sack. I don't get why you're so conservative and trying to save your timeouts. The game's about to end in a minute 20. Use your timeout.
Either save them and don't use it on fourth down.
Exactly.
Or
and then regroup, yeah. Talk about the play with the timeout, and then you can see what is best for Fields and Getsy, because I think, obviously they got like the one play I highlighted on Twitter where it's the third down where Mooney and Equanimeous hit, run into each other. They've hit on that before, but like you, Greg, I like when Fields can kind of just open up and see the whole field, because you look at the first drive out of halftime, Fields is making these full field reads, and he's going through his progressions and obviously hitting the right target. He just didn't have time. Like that was the time in the game where the offensive line, they showed their hand a little bit. The Detroit Lions were able to get pressure, so maybe even if he had a full field to look at, who knows if the pressure would have been there.
Favor there.
You are. Because you're limiting what he can do. And especially once that play gets discombobulated when the two receivers hit each other, throws off the timing. What is Fields supposed to do? He's already rolling right. You can't expect him to go left, go through all this traffic, and make something happen.
Hutchinson's sitting right there on the
He's
back
sitting
side.
On the edge.
He would not have been able, I can't say not, because Justin Fields is unbelievable and does things that aren't possible at times. But
exactly,
that play really pissed me off.
Yeah, no doubt. And then last, I have Justin Fields. Obviously, the biggest mistake he had was the pick six, and he knows that. He just has to throw that ball in the dirt, throw it away. Don't put the ball in harm's way. But, the guy accounted for 4 touchdowns, right? Yep. So he was rushing all over and obviously passing when Luke Getsy asked him to do that, hitting on Cole Kmet for the 50-yarder, running over safeties and concussing them, and just doing what Justin Fields has been doing these past couple of weeks. So that's a mistake that he can definitely learn from. He had pressure in his face, and now if that happens again, just give yourself an opportunity to fight another down, even if it does lead to ultimately a punt on the drive. It's better than giving Jeff Okudah and the Detroit Lions 6 free points there. So putting Fields at the bottom, but going defense, Santos, refs, coaching, and then Fields.
So your top 2 was defense, Santos. Wills, your top 2 was
refs and Santos.
Refs, Santos. Okay, yeah. And then mine was refs, defense. Because, to me, like you said, the Braxton Jones one was huge. So I feel like that took 7 points off the board. I can't prove it that they would have scored, but it killed the momentum of that drive. They have to settle for 3. The Cole Kmet back shoulder throw should have been pass interference. Adam said it should have been it wasn't a good ball from Justin. He's smarter at this than I am, but I thought it was a great throw with the defender, had his back turned. He threw it, hit Cole right in the hands. He still could have caught it, but it was pass interference. The Kyler Gordon, he should have got the sack, but the personal foul, that was not a personal foul in my opinion. I guess we'll know for sure when we see the all 22. And then the Sanborn interception that should have been at that point. I mean, we're harping on the defense, but it's 24-10. They get an interception. I don't know what the Lions do after that. Waddle was telling me, well, we can't guarantee that they wouldn't have still gave up points. I'm like, yeah, that's true, but they had all the momentum, and we've seen it from good football teams when momentum changes like that. And then the Cole Kmet coming across on the play you're talking about, where he gets hit like a missile, comes out of nowhere and just takes him out. Sniper on the roof. That's a penalty and a huge play. So there were too many of those for me to like. And people don't like the ref excuse, but to me, it wasn't an excuse. It was a fact. And, that's it. It pisses me off, clearly.
Well, we can just go back to Fields running over defenders, concussing them, and reminding me of Jay Cutler and that one hit he had on Robert Golden on the Steelers years ago, and he just shouldered them and shoved them down. Like, that's the first thing I thought of when I saw that. But yeah, regardless, though, I think, we played this segment, we had this game, but there's just so much blame to go around, and it's, failure in all three phases for the Bears at one point or another that led, to this loss. And it's a team game, as Greg and I talked on the top. It's not just Justin. Everyone else needs to play, step up, execute. They didn't do it enough to win this one, and that's why we're talking about a Bears 31-30 loss and not, a win. And then, of course, lastly, just got to blame Nick one last time for saying that the Bears will score 30, doubling down on that 30 in the tailgate. Obviously, you're right. Obviously, you're right. But if you would have said 31 like me, could have maybe been an entirely different game.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I'm sorry.
There you go.
You could outwardly maybe blame me a little too, because I pointed out and made me realize I went to the first two games and then left early to get back to the studio. But in the two games that I actually went into the stadium, the Bears are 2-0. So I don't know if I need to start going back, just like walk in there for a minute and then leave.
Yes.
I was thinking about that too. Because like you guys know me. I'm always going to be the fan in the stands. What we're doing here.
That's right.
CHGO is a lot of fun, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. But to not be at Soldier Field the last 2 weeks for these historical games, these highlight reel touchdowns where I love to capture the moment on video on my phone, and to not have that is certainly a rock and a hard place, because I get the FOMO, no doubt, when those are going on. So I'm sure it's cool for you guys to sit up there in the press box and witness history with your eyes, because it's a beautiful sight. That's for sure.
That's why I took a picture last week. I had Nick take my picture on the field, because I was like, you know what, right behind me, like, some historic shit just happened. And I want to make sure like I can look at that photo and be like, that's the day that, Justin set this or that record. So it just dawned on me, because you said the Bears won both games you were at. And I was touting, up even until like last week, like the Bears are 2-0 when I'm there. So really, they're 2-0 when you and I are both there. So we're both true. Combined. It's the lucky charm. That's the problem. That's the problem. I agree. And I thought it was me. And I was like, so like, what happened to like whatever luck I was bringing the Bears? But no, I was missing you, Greg, and that's what it is.
No, but that's good. Like, he's, like Sanborn, you got to appreciate the moments, right?
You do.
So we'll continue to do that. While we watch Justin Fields make history every week, I'm sure he'll break his own records next week.
That's what he does. That's just what he does. All right, that's going to do it for tonight's edition of CHGO Bears After Dark. For Greg Braggs, Nicholas Moreano, thanks, guys, for hopping on and having a great Bears talk this Monday night. Couldn't think of a better way to spend it. Now it's time to go finish and watch this Monday Night Football game. But I will speak to everybody Thursday for Nick and I's preview. Looking forward to breaking down this Bears game versus the Atlanta Bears, and we will see how it all shakes out.
Atlanta Bears.
Who's going to win? But until then, bear down, Chicago.